In this video, I'm going to give you my top 7 small forwards of all time. Let's get into it. What is up, everybody? Jacob Bogdanovich here with Amateur Hour Sports, where we give you raw and unfiltered sporting content Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. So it is your first time here with me today and you like the video, be sure to subscribe to Amateur Hour Sports for more content just like this. I went for a 7-player list for this one as opposed to the conventional 5-man list because I felt like it would have been a bit disrespectful to leave out any of these guys off of a top small forward of all time list. So I went with 7. I think there's a big gap between 7 and 8. So I stuck with this. Let's get started with pick number 7. Scottie Pippen. Maybe a bit to a surprise for some that he's as low as he is. Maybe to others he's a bit too high. I feel like Scottie Pippen is the 7th best small forward of all time. He's a tremendous two-way star. The accolades are there to a degree with 10 all-defensive team appearances and 7 all-NBA appearances. Very, very nice from Scottie Pippen. Did it on both ends, like I said. That's what made him so good, his ability to play on defense and his ability to play with Jordan. On the way to those 6 championships, though, I don't think that Scottie Pippen would have ever won a championship if he was the sole player on the team. I think he profited heavily from playing with Michael Jordan in terms of the championship, though Scottie Pippen was a formidable player, one of the better players in the NBA at the time when he was playing. He was a steal champ as well one year, and he also had a cheeky All-Star Game MVP. He always put up around 20 points per game, either just above or just under, so nothing tremendous in terms of scoring compared to the other players on this list, but his defensive capabilities make up for it. I'm going to knock him to 7th just because he was never the top dog on a team. I never got to see him thrive in his own element, and in those cases where he had to be the best player on the team, he wasn't as formidable, so that's why I'm going to leave him here on the list. Number 6 on the list, Elgin Baylor. This guy put up stupid numbers, just plain silly ass numbers. One year he put up 38 points per game and 18 rebounds from the small forward position. Over his career he managed to average 27 points per game along with 13 rebounds, which is very impressive. It was unreal for a small forward to produce to such a degree. Even today, for a small forward to produce those kind of numbers is absolutely insane. Just an absolute walking double-double, and not like scraping over on the double-double. Many rebounds, getting well into the 10s in terms of his rebounding ability, except he just wasn't as great of a shooter. Only shot about 43% from the field in his career. This is before the three-point era, so nothing too tremendous there from Elgin Baylor, just a very high volume score. And I'm going to knock him for not winning an NBA championship, even though he played pretty much his entire career with Jerry West. So that duo in tandem, I feel like, should have been able to elevate to a championship that they never did. And I know that that was the Bill Russell era where he dominated, but the Lakers probably should have had a say with 2 tremendous all-time players in Elgin Baylor, Jerry West. That's why I leave him here. I keep him above Scottie, though, because the scoring and rebounding is so formidable compared to Scottie on the list. Also, it's important to recognize how he changed the position, how he could facilitate the offense from the small forward position. One of the pioneers in sort of doing that and having the ability to play make from the top of your own key a bit off of a defensive rebound. Grab the ball and be able to outlet pass it. That was pretty revolutionary for the position, for the small forward. Elgin Baylor, number 6. Number 5 on the list, Julius Dr. J. Erving. Not only is he an NBA legend and a Hall of Famer, he's arguably the greatest ABA player of all time. 2 ABA championships and another NBA championship to go along with that. Dr. J was a formidable small forward in all of basketball history. Though the defense accolades don't quite show it, he was a great defender. He averaged 2 steals a game in his career and 1.7 blocks, which is very good. In fact, it's level with Scottie Pippen in steals and almost 1 ahead of him in blocks per game. So very formidable defense. Even though he only has the 1 All-NBA defensive team, I think that the stats are there to show that he was a great defender as well as Scottie Pippen, but Julius Erving, Dr. J, was just tremendous going forward. What a silky player at the basket, just great at going to the rim. Didn't really shoot a lot of threes, but still managed to get his points. Always tended to average above 20 points per game in the NBA, even though in the ABA he was putting up like 26, 27 points per game. In all 5 of his ABA seasons, he was on the All-ABA, and he had 7 All-NBAs along with that, and he didn't join the NBA till he was like 26, 27, so very impressive accolades from Dr. J. Though his scoring did drop when he transferred into the NBA through the merger, he still managed to win an MVP in his time in the NBA. Also, we got to recognize the influence Dr. J had, taking a bit of influence from Elgin Baylor, the one before, the predecessor. And a lot of players tend to take, if you're a small forward at least, they take a lot of influence from Dr. J, who took it from Elgin Baylor, but Dr. J pushed it even further along for the position in terms of facilitating the offense from that position. It seems like a lot of people take inspiration from Dr. J, but they took it from Elgin Baylor, so you got to respect those guys for what they did for the game. Number 4 on the list, Kawhi Leonard. A bit of a hot take in this scenario. I think a lot of people have him a lot lower on the list, especially because his career is still quite young compared to all the other players on the list. He hasn't aged, he hasn't grown fully, he doesn't have a ton of accolades yet. He's still only 28, and I get that, but the stats and the eye test are there for me to put Kawhi Leonard at the number 4 spot. He's one of the 3 players in NBA history to win a Finals MVP with 2 different teams, along with LeBron James and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. A lot of the guys on this list, if they did win a chip, they needed the help to win that championship. Whereas Kawhi Leonard with the Toronto Raptors didn't have a star beside him on the team. Obviously, the team played so well that it allowed Kawhi Leonard to thrive, and the pieces helped Kawhi Leonard win that, but without a ton of help, a lot of the other guys in this list wouldn't have achieved that championship that Kawhi Leonard did with the Toronto Raptors. And for that, it shows how great Kawhi Leonard is. He's a two-way superstar, an absolute rock on defense, and one of the best on offense in the NBA. If he had one or the other, he would still be regarded as a bit of a star in the NBA, just from his defense or just from his offense. But he has both combined together to produce the 4th best small forward of all time, in my opinion. The accolades may not be as prominent as some of the other players lower on the list, but if you ask me who I wanted on my team, I would take Kawhi Leonard over Dr. J, Elgin Baylor, as well as Scottie Pippen. The fact of the matter is, I just want Kawhi Leonard on my team above those guys. When he's fully healthy and he wants to do so, he could be Defensive Player of the Year while averaging at least 25 points per game. It's absolutely ludicrous. It's absolutely ridiculous. I think if he wanted to play a full season in the NBA, he could easily win an MVP with the play he's showing right now. His offense is better than Scottie Pippen, and you could argue that his defense is as well. I think that both his defense and offense are better than Scottie Pippen. His offense is slightly worse than Elgin Baylor, but his defense is way better than him. And you could make the case that he's got a bit better offense than Dr. J, and I would make the case that he's a better defender than Dr. J as well. I don't think there really is a case. He's a better defender than Dr. J, and you could argue he's slightly better on offense with the points and the efficiency that he produces. Dr. J was only in 1 All-NBA defensive team. Kawhi has already been in 5, and he's only 28 years old. It's crazy to think that, and I know Dr. J joined the NBA late, but Kawhi Leonard's already got 5 All-NBA defensive teams. It's ridiculous to go along with those 2 Defensive Player of the Years already. For an injury-prone guy, he's got a lot of accolades, including those 2 Finals MVPs with those 2 championships. Those Defensive Player of the Years and the All-NBAs just show them for themselves. At 28 years of age, Kawhi Leonard is top 4 for me. He's on the Mount Rushmore of small forwards. Number 3 on the list, Larry Bird. I'm sorry, but the most disrespectful thing I have ever seen from the NBA is Larry Bird choosing to play against the Portland Trailblazers left-handed, even though he's right-handed. Chose to play left-handed and put up a 47-point triple-double. And I know he uses right-handed a bit in that game, but he shot 10 for 21 with his offhand in that game. How many people in the world can produce a game like that with their offhand or their off foot in any sport? It's absolutely ridiculous. The most disrespectful play in the NBA, I think, is when you're on a fast break with an open layup and you choose to take a 3 and hit it. But I think this is the most disrespectful thing as a whole I have ever seen. Making it known you are playing with your offhand and still going to town. Comment down below what you think is the most disrespectful thing you have ever seen in NBA history. He won the MVP 3 times, back to back to back from 84 to 86. He's got 3 NBA championships, and he got 2 Finals MVPs in those championships. I don't need to explain why Larry Bird is as high as he is on this list. I need to explain to you why he's lower than the next guy on the list. Number 2, Kevin Durant. As good of a scorer as Larry Bird was, Kevin Durant is a better one. He has more ability and skill to his game than Larry Bird. Kevin Durant is a 3-dimensional scorer. He's tremendous from the perimeter. He's great at taking it to the rim. He can pull it from mid-range, take it in isolation. He can cram it at the rim. Larry Bird had a lot of these skills, but Kevin Durant was just better in a lot of them. He is almost impossible to guard with his shooting, his athleticism, his dribble, and he's almost 7 feet tall for the position. It's ridiculous. He has ugly rings, and I get that. Those rings are ugly. But he was the best player on those insane teams that he played on. And it's not like Larry Bird didn't have help when he won those championships. Those are formidable Boston Celtics teams. The fact of the matter is, if I could have one or the other on my team, I would rather have Kevin Durant for what he brings to the table. Just more weapons, and he has a bit more skill in those weapons, I think. It's close, but if I had to choose between the two to start at small forward, I'm taking Kevin Durant. Number 1 on the list, LeBron James. In Larry Bird's 13 seasons in the NBA, he averaged over 25 points per game 3 times. LeBron has averaged over 25 points per game 16 seasons in a row, longer by 3 years than Larry Bird's entire career. If you disagree with LeBron as the best small forward of all time, you simply just don't know basketball. I firmly maintain and believe that if he wanted to score KD-like numbers, he could do it. But he's more focused on orchestrating, pulling the strings for his team, elevating his teammates, and winning the game for his team. The main focus is on controlling the outcome through his teammates by elevating them. He has the most unparalleled ability to elevate his teammates to a different level to win games. The teams he has dragged to NBA Finals is just plain stupid. Just awful players. Like, look at the Cavs team from 2007. That team had absolutely no right to be in an NBA Finals, but LeBron James dragged them there. Other than the scoring, LeBron does everything better than KD. And I think if he wanted to, LeBron could average those many points if he sacrificed the other parts of his game. But those other parts make him the fantastic player that he is, the best small forward in NBA history. That wraps up this video. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like the video if you like, and subscribe to Amateur Hour Sports for more content just like this. As well, hit that notification bell so that you never miss an episode. We post 4 times a week. At the end of the day, I believe what I say, and if you disagree, that's okay. We'll see you again next time.